Going over IRS Form 12277, application for withdrawal of filed Form 668Y, Notice of Federal Tax Lien. In essence, this is the form that you would use to file an application for the IRS to withdraw their notice of a federal tax lien. Before we get into this form, which is a one-page, fairly straightforward application form, we should probably talk a little bit about the background on the federal income tax lien process. So, taxpayers may be subject to a federal tax lien if they are delinquent in their taxes and they meet certain criteria as defined within the IRS guidance. And the most notable part about this is that the IRS is required by law and Treasury regulations to give plenty of notice to taxpayers. So for the most part, taxpayers do understand when a lien is being filed or should have every reasonable expectation. But then as you go through the repayment process for your overdue taxes, there may present opportunities for you to be able to apply for a withdrawal of the tax lien even if you have not fully paid off your tax debt. So to talk about your tax lien and how to get rid of it, obviously the number one way to get rid of a tax lien is to pay your debt in full. If you cannot do that, then you may be able to file for a discharge of a lien from a piece of property, more likely like a house, for example, if you need to refinance. You can subordinate that lien, which means that that lien, the federal tax lien no longer takes top position amongst collectors for things like your primary residence. If you needed to refinance your house, which would possibly result in a lower interest payment and actually help you be better able to pay off your tax debt, then you could apply to subordinate your tax lien. But what a withdrawal is removing the actual public notice of the federal tax lien while still assuring the IRS, other creditors, that the IRS is not competing for your property, and assuring the IRS that you're still liable for the amount that may be due. So obviously you can apply for a withdrawal of your tax lien once you've paid your debt and your lien has been released. You would also have to be in compliance for the past 3 years of tax filing, all individual tax returns, business returns, and any related information returns, and that you're current on your existing estimated tax payments or tax deposits. You may also be able to withdraw your notice of tax lien if you've entered into an installment agreement or you've converted your regular installment agreement to a direct debit installment agreement. And to be eligible for that, you have to be a qualifying taxpayer. So individuals, businesses with income tax only, and out of business entities that have tax debt. If you owe $25,000 or less, or have the ability to pay down your outstanding balance to $25,000 or less. Your direct debit agreement must pay off your remaining debt within 60 months. And if you're in full compliance and you've made at least 3 direct deposits and you've not defaulted on your current or previous agreements, then you can file this application and the IRS would consider withdrawing your tax lien, the tax lien. So the form is straightforward. We'll go through it line by line. And so in line 1, enter your name as shown on the notice. And then in line 2, enter your social security number or your employer identification number. If you have a taxpayer representative, that person's information will go in line 3. So if you're a business taxpayer, then the person that's making the application on behalf of the business can put their information in there. And then in lines 4 through 8 would be your contact information. So your street address, city, state, zip code, and then a phone number. And keep in mind that you know the IRS may need to request additional information from you in order to process this lien. So be sure to provide a phone number that's pretty reliable and that you can be reached during normal working hours. In Section 9, you'll attach a copy of the notice of tax lien if you have it, but if you don't have a copy, then you should at least enter the serial number of the tax lien, the date that it was filed, and then the recording office where it was filed. And you should have that information in the tax lien itself. But if you don't have that information, you should be able to contact the IRS, get a person on the phone, and walk through that tax lien information. Further down on the form, in item 10, you're going to check the appropriate box whether or not this is an open lien and you still have a balance, whether it's released, which means that the lien has been satisfied, or unknown, which means you don't know the current status. And then box 11 lists several different types of reasons you might be requesting withdrawal. So the first box, the notice was filed prematurely or not in accordance with IRS procedures. You may know that, but odds are, unless you're working with an attorney, you probably will not know that. If you entered into an installment agreement, then you can check that box. And if you entered into a direct debit installment agreement, check that box as well. If you believe that withdrawing the lien will facilitate the collection of the tax, then enter that. And finally, if you've been talking with the taxpayer advocate, then you can select the last box. If you're able to justify why withdrawal of the tax lien is in the best interest of both the taxpayer and the government. And odds are likely that a successful way to do this is, for example, entering into an installment agreement after having paid down your tax bill a little bit, and then being able to justify something that will make it easier for you to continue payments. For example, refinancing your house at a lower interest rate. If you're at the cusp of being able to refinance even at the same interest rate, but not having to pay private mortgage insurance or PMI. If you simply need to refinance because now you've got enough equity and you need to eliminate the PMI, which will give you more cash flow. The federal government will generally consider a request if you're able to outline how the withdrawal of the tax lien will allow you to renegotiate or refinance with another lien holder, and then that renegotiated financing deal helps give you extra cash to pay down your debt. But if there's a different reason, then you would outline your withdrawal request justification in box 12. You can attach additional sheets and any other documentation as required. And then at the bottom, you'll sign this under penalty of perjury. If you have a business, then you would enter your title in the signature block and enter a date. And if you have any other questions, you can always refer to the back of the form. You will need to mail this application to the IRS office that's assigned to your account. If you are not sure, if you don't know whether or not the account is assigned at all, there is a general IRS attention advisory group manager salutation then you can put on the mailing, and then you would simply send it to the IRS service center that services your area in your state, your principal place of business. So there's a little bit more information on the back of this form, but if you'd like, we've written an in-depth guide as an article. You can find this on our website. Simply go to teachmepersonalfinance.com, type in form 12277 in the search bar, and you should see our article appear. If you like our articles, please subscribe to our newsletter. If you like our YouTube videos and our walkthroughs, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions or concerns, please post them in the comments section or send me an email. Thank you very much and have a great day.